Hey guys, Prowl 1701 here, and today we're going to be reviewing the Pinnacle novelization of The Masque of Mandragora, which was written by Philip Hinchcliffe. Haha. Now, I of course have seen the TV episode. That's some nice little artwork there, isn't it? Yeah. I've seen the TV episode. I've always enjoyed it. I felt like it's an underrated story. Definitely not the weakest of season 14. The ending I've always thought was a little abrupt, a little too easy. That's really been my main criticism of it. And the book is good. It's pretty much the same for the most part as the episodes. It doesn't really expand on it like some of the novels does. It reads more pretty much just like the standard TV version, like some of the others I've reviewed. A couple different things that are different. When the doctor's giving his speech, "You don't have a future, not if you don't listen to me," it's worded a little different than it is in the TV episode. It's the same effect, the same meaning, but I did notice the actual wording of it is slightly different, and I think I prefer it a little better in the TV episode, but it's good in both. The part when the doctor does the "you can't count," which I love that line. "You can't count. I love that. That's such a Fourth Doctor thing to say. It's slightly different here because I believe in the episode he runs out right next to the prince to fight with him, whereas in the book he kind of sneaks up behind the group and is fighting them from their flank to get to him. To get to the prince. And that it's done really effectively in the book when it talks about how the doctor is defending the prince, especially after the prince gets hurt and can't fight anymore, and the doctor's basically holding them off by himself. I can't remember how well that was executed in the episode, but it's executed really well in the book. It's easily for me to picture what's going on. Now, there's a lot of times when I'm picturing this as I'm reading it, I'm just running the episode through my head. So I'm just picturing what happened in the episode in my head. But there are moments where I definitely take some creative license and I'm just kind of imagining it in my own way. The ending I like a little better in the book when the doctor is confronting the leader of the Brethren. I can't pronounce his name. That begins with an H. That's an odd name. But when he's wearing the piece of armor and he's basically draining the guy, I feel like that's executed a little better in the book, the way it describes it. Because in the episode, it's a little anticlimactic. It's still fine. Again, I like the episode, but I've always had a little bit of issues with the ending. It's a little anticlimactic when the doctor beats him there, when the guy keeps trying to shock him. Whereas I feel like it's written better in the book, and it only takes about 3 or 4 shots to deplete the guy. I feel like that's executed a little better in the book. And that part when the doctor mentions, "I would like a salami sandwich," I feel like that's done a little better in the book. The way Tom Baker kind of rolls it out in the episode, "I wouldn't say no to a salami sandwich." It's a Tom Baker thing to do, but it doesn't quite work for me in the episode. I like it better in the book when I'm reading it, and I'm just like, well, I wouldn't say no to a salami sandwich. You know, it seems more Fourth Doctor to me. Not that I would ever think I would be a better person to speak on the Fourth Doctor than Tom Baker, because I would never say that. But overall, I don't really have a preference either way. Again, the book follows the episodes pretty closely. It's just a couple little things. A couple things the show does better, a few things the book does better. But I don't have a preference between the two. If you've watched the episodes, you don't need to read the book. I mean, if you've read the book, you don't have to watch the episodes. You probably would want to because they're the episodes. But I don't really have a preference. I'm not going to say one's better than the other. I could read the book again and be fine. I could watch the episodes again and be fine. I think it's a good story. I think it's an underrated story. I definitely think it is not the worst story of season 14. I prefer it over Hand of Fear and probably even Deadly Assassin, to be honest. I think it's a good story. So, The Masque of Mandragora. Have you read it? What do you think of it? Comment down below and let me know other things to do. Don't forget to click that like button and that subscribe button. That helps me out, and I certainly appreciate it. Always got to beat that bad YouTube algorithm. I also have a Patreon if you would like to subscribe to that and help me out there. I also have a link to my Amazon wish list down there. I update that regularly, and my P.O. box is down there as well. If there's anything you'd like to send me to look at and review. I want to give a shout out to Stephen Crane, one of my top tier patrons. I also want to give a shout out to Colin Coney. Is that Coney? I forget how you say his last name. You'll have to tell me. Coney, down in the descriptions as well. He is one of my patrons. He's been with me for a little while now, but he did upgrade tiers recently. He moved from my $10 a month tier to my $15 a month tier. I wanted to say that I really appreciate that, Colin. Thank you. a couple of the patrons have had to stop lately, even a couple of the long-running ones, simply because prices, inflation, which I totally get. Everything's so high these days. I look at what my rent costs now to what my rent used to cost. 2020s are an interesting time to live in, so I definitely understand that. But Colin mentioned that in a message to me. He's like, I like what you do, I keep doing what you do. That he had wanted to just contribute a little more, and I really appreciate that. I wanted to say thank you. So I appreciate both of you, just as I appreciate all of my patrons, and most importantly, thank you for watching.